Angelica.
Oh, that's funny. Yes. What would you like to know?
I want to know everything you can tell us and our listeners within the next 5 minutes about how important listening is. Like, if people did nothing else than just learn that one thing, how would that transform the world?
I have this funny saying. It's not mine, but I love to say it, that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that's important to use it more than the other one. So when you're listening, I have this formula designed called the love formula, LOVE. And basically in the love formula, and I'll type it as I'm saying it so that it makes sense. The L stands for listening, the O stands for observing, the V stands for verifying, and the E stands for empathizing. And so when you're listening with the L, you're basically in attentive listening versus selective listening, and you're in the present moment versus the past of your biases or what you want to say to tell them what to do, which is opinion-based, or in the future based on future tripping of what errands to do and so forth. You're basically sitting there from the perspective of what the person is saying and hearing everything they are saying. And in the processing of one's words, that's considered 7%. That's the content. When you take it to the next level and you get into the observing, which is where you're using your eyes, you're observing not only what you're hearing, but what you're seeing, which is 55% the body language and 38% the content and the volume. So sometimes people could say something, but their tone and their body language can give a different impression altogether based on various criteria. And sometimes when we assume things, you know what happens. So when you're listening, if you're making sure you understand and accept what you're hearing and what you're seeing, that's where the verifying comes in. And then with the empathizing, this is where the coaching go into a positive or a more destructive format. And also people that are in counseling or relationships, whether it's in sales or management or even working as a secretary at an office. And the E stands for empathizing, not sympathizing. And when you're sympathizing, you're basically looking at changing someone because you think something's wrong with them, so you want to fix, correct, or change them. And the great news is you're not broken, so there's nothing to fix, correct, or change. You're basically transforming. So with empathizing, what you're doing is you're relating to the person by understanding what it would feel like if you were them, even though you're not. And through acceptance, you're accepting where they're at, period, and where they're not, period. And through that compassion, there's a sense of the person feels accepted, they feel cared for, they feel nurtured. And that's where the listening builds the rapport of connecting with love versus with LA, the la la land, which is giving the listening and moving into advice, or lower, which is listening, observing, and then giving advice, where you move away from love, or LOVA, which is listening, observing, and verifying, and then giving advice, which is lava, and that could really burn you, or love's diapers, which is where the poop comes in, because you move into LOVS instead of LOVE.
I never heard it described this way. I've done
I like to have fun.
I've done a lot of work around listening. Oh, that's funny.